On with all the fucking apps and everything and make it run real nice. But he'd totally set it up his fucking way.
Of
you
course.
know?
Of
Like,
course.
his fucking, I mean, and he would have fucking intense fucking customizations of the way that he set your shit up, to the audio and all the different colors and I mean, to the wallpapers, every fucking thing. It was all set. And he was like, if you don't like the way I set it up, change it to how you like it.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, in the end, I mean, it was worth the time to undo all the shit he did just to keep all the shit that he did. Because he's dead now. But I mean, he
we know what happened to him.
Oh, I know what happened to him. He fucking sat on his ass behind a computer for 30 years straight and didn't get up and do a damn thing.
And had a heart attack.
Yeah, well, I mean, his heart stopped on him, but I don't know if it was a heart attack or any number of things. I mean, he shriveled up. He wasted away, but I mean, it all centered around poor blood circulation from sitting on your ass.
Yep.
And living in a virtual world.
That will do it.
You got to get up and you got to shake your dick at people, man.
That is true.
Some of us don't get naked and pee on other people's cars.
No, you're not naked if you have socks on.
Okay.
Okay. I'll buy that.
That's the Harry Potter theory, because it got Dobby free, you know. Gave him a sock, and he went, oh, you gave Dobby clothes.
I guess it really depends on where you're wearing the sock.
Hey, yeah. But you got to keep it warm, you know, because, you know, there's one thing that we all could say is that, you know, we do bring our own wash rag holders when we go to the shower.
There you go. Yeah, I remember when... So, in my younger years, I was the keyboardist for an industrial band that was local to Portland, and we were hanging out at the lead singer's house one night, and we had I think we were having a party, which, I mean, that doesn't really narrow it down because we had parties practically every weekend. But so there was a lot of alcohol and other libations, we'll just leave it at that, involved, and the girls had decided that all the guys needed to go into one of the upstairs bedrooms and come out without our pants on, only wearing a sock. And we agreed to it. I mean, I don't know why, but, you know, there it was.
We had this place, it was Showbiz Pizza, and right next to it was a Kmart. And, you know, at the time, Kmart had these blue light specials. They would call out the aisle, you know. And so, you know, our parents would drop us off at Showbiz, and we would go get a bunch of tokens and eat through them. And then the game was to go into Kmart, and you had to streak down the blue light special aisle, you know, and you know, you shoot down that blue light special aisle, and then, you know, you got to get out. You know, you don't really, you know. No one ever did.
You don't want to stay?
Yeah, no. You hit
Well,
that aisle.
the cool thing about
and
that whole game is
go.
that you never know which aisle it's going to be because it's completely random.
Right. So you try to,
fuck.
you get out there and you're like, okay, and you get at the end of the aisle. They call it out, and you go to the end of the aisle that's away from the door to get out, and then you get naked and you grab your clothes and you run. Go fast you can. Don't stop and talk to people. There's no point in having a conversation. And then you hit that front door, and you get in the parking lot, and you get your clothes back on. You use cars for cover and get dressed, and then slide back up into showbiz just in time to watch the big robotic stuffed guys sing a song.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
What an interesting childhood.
I had a fun time.
Yeah.
We didn't do that on the Air Force Base.
Oh, well, maybe not. We sure as hell did it. That whole place has been renovated by a tornado. But I mean, just like last week. But it was still a pretty fun time we had.
What replaced the Kmart?
The tornado took it apart.
I was going to say an empty lot.
A big hole in the ground.
Was it still a Kmart?
No, I think they remade it into some kind of health school or something, because they had taken that whole shopping center basically and remodeled it. But it's all tore the fuck now. An EF3 tornado it landed, and it took off and stayed on the ground for like 30 miles through a very intense part of town. I mean, it's the center of fucking town. We call it Midtown. And it took out, about a block and a half wide strip that went across the whole fucking city. The amazing part is like one motherfucker died in the neighboring city, and it was from a heart attack. It's really a miracle that, I mean, you go and you see, and like all the houses are gone, and I mean, everything's fucked. It's chaos. And you're like, man, nobody fucking died.
The video footage was pretty impressive. It really wiped things out.
So speaking of tornadoes, I heard quite possibly the dumbest fucking thing I've heard on the news in a while, and that is really saying something, because I can come up with something stupid that they say on the news every night. But it was the weather, and they were over in Oregon, I guess, on the eastern side where Gabriel's from, Hermiston. Is getting a rather drastic bit of weather, to the point where they're talking about the high probability of funnel clouds. Now, they don't have any, at this point, last I checked like 15 minutes ago, they don't have any confirmed tornadoes touching down, but they said, there are funnel clouds, and it's going to cross right. When I saw it, they were like, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, this is going to cross over Interstate 84. And the weatherman says, if you're driving on Interstate 84 right now, be careful. And I'm like, and I'm like, well, one, if they're driving on Interstate 84 right now, they're not going to hear you say any of this because they're not watching the fucking TV. And two, how are you careful if a funnel cloud goes over? I mean, do you have a prayer ready on your lips? Are you a cleric? I mean, how does...
I can tell you what not to do is do not go on your fucking front porch and try to record the tornado.
Right?
Because when the 160-mile-an-hour winds come whipping on through and snatch your bony ass up, it's just not going to be, you're not going to have a good time.
That's why I'm fat. I'm safe in hurricanes and tornadoes.
I worked in Montgomery, Alabama at the Air Force Base there when I was younger. And I had a secretary who came to work one day, and she looked as white as a sheet. a tornado had picked up her car while she was commuting to work, turned it around 360 degrees, and put it back down on the road.
Shit. Yeah, that would get your attention.
I'm not going
She
to
was
work.
just a little.
Air
No
Force
damage?
or not. Yeah.
No damage.
Yeah. I'm not going to work if that happens. That's
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
give a fuck
you know,
Air
when
Force
the-
or not.
When the storm finished passing by, I sent her home.
Yeah.
Like, you can have a free day. I'll pay for it.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't give a fuck what the job is. If,
You're right.
if the air picks my car up and turns it around, I'm like, man, that's the universe telling me to go home and take a mental health day.
Right.
Buy some
Right
lottery
there, yeah.
tickets.
Yeah, I'm going home. Yeah.
Shit. Well, welcome to Deep Night Revelation. We'll be picking up where we left off last week. These guys are going to be, they are moving up the Dust Belt, and the next stopping point is the system of Homestead, as they are traversing the Trojan Reach on their way out of charted space. Before we get started, we'd like to thank one of the friends of the Greenwater Guildhall. None of these are sponsorships or partnerships of any kind. They're just products that we really like. And today we'd like to thank Fable Beard Company. Fable Beard Company makes beard products such as oils, balms, butters, and co-wash. They also have beard wash, deodorant, spray-on colognes. They have a plethora of goods, and each of their scent profiles is a different fantasy character. Tonight I am actually wearing Dr. Wolf Beard Balm. It smells like, it smells like really, really, really good pipe tobacco, but it is tobacco and blueberry, and it is very nice. Even my dentist really likes it. He was working on me. He's like, "Do you smoke a pipe?" I'm like, "Yes, but that's not what you're smelling." But, anyways, I'm sure they have a scent that that would suit you. If you are a first-time purchaser, they do have a buy one get one free option. Just go to fablebeardco.com and create an account, and you can put 2 beard oils into your cart, and you can get that second one for free if you use the code FIRST in all capital letters. So I came to the decision. I believe we talked about it last week. I have discontinued the Obsidian Portal website. As I stated, it really was feeling more like a vanity project, and you know, basically all the information that was posted there was stuff that it was really geared just for you guys anyways, so we can handle all of that here and in our Facebook Messenger group, etc., etc. I don't need to continue those websites and feel guilty when I'm not updating them, and I think the money can be spent better elsewhere. So that will go back into the channel in other ways, and I think the pages will be up until April 11th. So if there's stuff that anybody wants to grab off there, you have until then. And if you were into those pages, all 10 of you, I'm sorry, but they will be going away, or at least they won't be updated anymore. So, if you, I don't think we have anybody wearing them tonight, but if you are looking for a new t-shirt, we do have t-shirts available on our merch store via Zazzle. The link will be in the description down below. Check out the Pirates of Draenak's pirate flag shirt. There's also the Greenwater Guildhall official group, the Wayward Bastard shirt. There is the beer stein with the Greenwater logo on it, and there is a blanket with the map of the Gloucestian Empire on it. A fleece throw blanket that comes in 3 sizes. So, looking at the small size of the blanket, I can tell you it'd probably be good for a baby blanket or something like that. If you want like a throw for your chair or something, you're probably going to want to look at a medium-sized blanket. But anyways, check out that site, and everything you buy, what little minor amount of profit we get goes right back into the channel and into our games. So help us out. So last week, you guys, is Gabe actually here, or are you still at the kids' concert?
I am here.
You are here. All right.
I am.
Did Charlie have a solo?
No, Charlie was unfortunately in the back. We could barely see the top of his peanut head.
Did Annie have a solo?
Annie was right up front, but no solos. No solos for first graders, I guess.
See, that's ageism right there.
Yeah.
So, where we left off, you guys had jumped. You are coming out of the jump into the Homestead system. Now, you're the captain of the ship is still following the standard protocol that's set up. The Trojan Reach, as far as the Imperial Navy and probably even most of the Scout Service they consider that to be fairly well known, and I say fairly. I wouldn't say that the Trojan Reach is as well known, as far as everything being up to date as, say, like the Spinward Marches or any of those regions. And the reason mostly for that is that the Trojan Reach is a hive of scum and villainy. And so
you go in the other room about
most of the stuff that you would have on your charts is literally going under other names. So
Baby was stuck in my closet.
There have been some major changes to the Trojan Reach since a lot of these maps have been made. And so, like, for instance, the Sindal subsector, on a lot of Imperial charted maps, it's going to show Sindal as the name of the subsector, and that is no longer the name of it. It is now Tliowaha, because it is a part of the Aslan Herate. And,
Sindal's north.
Or not, you're right. You are correct. I'm sorry. Dryneck subsector has been renamed to
correct. Yeah, that makes sense.
Other things like, for instance, they may in Sindal subsector they'll show a planet called Sindal. It hasn't been named Sindal for 2,000 years. It's now called Noricum. And Homestead is a perfect example of this. On most Imperial charts, it's still named under the Sindalian name of Sinray. And it is now named Homestead. And since the time that it was named, last called Sinray, was, like I said, 2,000 years ago during the Sindalian Civil War, which pretty much put an end to Sinray. It had a population in the billions, and during the Civil War, the Empire of Sindal knew that it was a hive of rebellion, and so they blasted it into a desert. They dropped biologics, they dropped atomics, and this is now, from considering that it used to be a garden world, this is what it looks like.
Watching Aurora.
It was fun.
So now Homestead isn't really a planet. It is a moon of the first gas giant in the system, which has this is a large gas giant, has 3 ring systems, and Homestead is the outermost moon orbiting that system. Now, when I say that the captain is following the protocols, the standard protocol that has already been set up, the Deep Night is going to go to the gas giant to refuel. It is going to launch small craft, probably the pinnaces, and they are going to go out and they are going to do an active scan of the entire system. Now, to keep your as you guys come out of jump, your mission crew is, let's admit it, is mostly scientists. They're really excited about having a look at Homestead. And the reason for that is that Homestead has a plethora of, I guess, archaeological evidence. This is what the planet of Homestead, the orbit, looks like. All of those dots are space junk left over from a massive space battle 2,000 years ago. And so...
a lot like Earth.
Yeah, right. And so...
all of our crap.
Yeah, except that all of this is remnant parts, bits, and pieces of broken up cruisers and things of that matter. And at night on Homestead, you can see these, bits and pieces come in meteor showers that creates this spectacular display that these guys get to, anybody who lives on Homestead gets to see this, every night. And so the reality is that after 2,000 years after Sinray was bombed into desert, colonists from Thebes came and recolonized. When I say colonists, a few hardy settlers. There's not a lot of people. In fact, it's maybe, I would say maybe 1,000 people. I don't think it's very many, but nah, it's probably more than that. It's probably more like 10,000 people total live on the entire planet. And so these settlers came and they renamed it Homestead. And
that is Earth.
Yeah.
This is
he was looking for a picture with a lot of space crap. So.
Right, and yeah, and so so this is essentially what Homestead's orbit looks like. Your maps, of course, are outdated and are showing still the garden world bullshit that are left over from the Second Imperium and the rule of man. And these maps are completely incorrect. Well, they're mostly incorrect. The location of the starport is still in the right place. But these noble estates that they're showing, this noble estate over here is actually just a small town known as Benjamin. These lakes and whatnot, a lot of them don't exist. And all of this green is all brown. It is a blasted wasteland. Now, the reason that the scientists are so excited is, like I said, the junk in orbit around Homestead is a plethora of archaeological evidence. But the captain, he's a little concerned because of the high rate of piracy in the Trojan Reach, and of course the upper echelons of Imperial Naval. Or the Imperial Navy have warned him, like, if you're going forward with this plan of moving up the Dust Belt, be aware that there are problematic groups existing in that region. And so the captain has basically called you guys in and has requested. The scientists want to be able to get a closer look. He would like to do that on the way out, more or less, once the ship is refueled. But he's worried about the fact that there's so much junk out there that it is an excellent spot for pirates and raiders to basically hide their vessels in. And even with the 3D scans of the pinnaces and Deep Knight's excellent scanning suite, they're not going to get as much of a pinpoint scan as you guys are capable of doing in your scout ship, the
Who's next?
Yeah.
Did we come from Dolberg? Did we come out of basically Imperial space here? Or
you did.
Were we okay? So we didn't come from Thief.
No. You came here from Dolberg.
That makes sense. Because I was looking at the jump force and I'm going, that would have been funny.
Yeah, no. I mean, it would be unlikely that you would come from me. Not impossible, but unlikely.
Yeah, we run a strictly dickly trade route here, man. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
those pirate worlds.
We're not a pirate.
Yeah.
The Imperium officially doesn't know Thief is a pirate world. That's why I'm saying they might have just sent us through here without.
Yeah, officially in air quotes, they don't know that Thief is a pirate world. Although, there's an entire hotel on Thief that is catering to Imperial citizens because there are Navy ships that pop in there, you know, for a free meal and a fancy place to stay.
It's not even a pirate world. It's all a conspiracy run by Jetico. We all...
Well, hey, I don't want to spoil stuff for anybody
a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Anybody watching us on YouTube that may not have that, you know. But yeah, well, I mean, I describe it as an offshore. It's like the Bahamas,
right?
You know, it's a lot of people come here to do business and keep it off the books.
Hey, everything's good until you go into the lower city. But yeah, no, you didn't come from Thief. You came from Dolberg, which has its own issues. But Homestead, they want you to take out. The captain would like you to take out the scout ship, and basically before Deepnight Revelation gets close on the way out to give the scientists a close-up view of this space junk, he would like you to scout it out and make sure that it is safe to do so.
Sounds fun.
Is there specific information that scientists are looking for that we can look for in our preliminary? So we don't have to.
More or less, they're looking for anything that has large remnant hulls, because these are ships that haven't flown in 2000. Nobody's even rebuilding these anymore. Well, that's not entirely true. Very few people have seen the originals of these in 2,000 years, and so what's left in orbit is original stuff.
Do they have an expert on hand that happens to know good jokes that might want to fly along with us? If they don't have a sense of humor, though, fuck them.
Probably not.
That's terrible. Terrible news, and we really need to get some classes going. Maybe
most of your scientists are... nose in the books kind of nerds. They're not.
Yeah, they might not be a good fit for our shenanigans.
Right. Yes. That.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that is the request. And as you guys are loading up, is there anything in particular that you guys are taking with you? What is your plan loading up? I mean, of course. The
flame rifles.
well, that's something.
Of course.
I'm gonna go out. I mean, is really kind of like I'm gonna just assume I'm going into a combat situation. I mean, I'm gonna put my best armor on and grab my weapons, and I'm gonna bring some knock juice and.
Do they
you have to bring that venom?
Do they intend on us landing on the planet, or do they just want us to survey it from, survey the wreckage?
They'll leave that part up to you, but initially, mostly just to survey the wreckage, make sure that there's no, larger ships. Really, what they're concerned about is, ships of 1,000+ tons that could be hiding in this wreckage. Smaller ships, of course, are also dangerous, especially when they've got small craft, bopping around the system as they're doing a scan. But really, what they're more concerned about is 1,000+ tons, that could really cause some kind of harm as they are passing by.
Does before we break out, does the ship happen to have like armor-piercing rounds for my Gauss rifle?
I would say that you can make a gun combat plus intellect or education check to make some. Since you do have the effect will be how many magazines you can create.
Fair enough. So 1 plus 2. There we go. How about a 14? A fort fucking
Holy
team.
shit! Yeah, that
Wow.
that is a crit success, I believe.
Yeah.
It is. So you are
Are
able.
they heap too?
Maybe.
Oh
So
shit!
it is a critical success, and I'm trying to remember what page this was on. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm close. So that was 6.
Correct.
Yeah, the old box cars.
So yeah, I will say you can make. It's your choice, but you can make. If you wanted to, you could make 4 magazines, full magazines of the armor piercing, and 2 heap, or 2 incendiary, or 1 heap and 1 incendiary.
Man, I really like heap. I really want. I want the first option. That was 4 armor piercing and 2 heap.
Yep.
That's what I'd like.
Okay.
We will revisit this at another time, perhaps. But I think that's a good all around package to play with.
Yeah.
So 4.
Yummy num. Look at what I got. I got ramen.
Nice.
So the cat wants some.
Oh my god, my cats were cracking me up. I smoked a pork tenderloin, and man, they wanted that. They were, because we don't have an outdoor electrical outlet. I have to run an extension cord and keep the door cracked a little bit, and they were right up to the crack of that door sniffing, like, that smells good the whole day. And then I bring it in, and they're like, we want some of that. But what's funny is that neither one of them will eat people food usually, so it's like, we really want it. No, we don't. We just wanted to smell it.
Well, I mean, you got to flavor it pretty. Pork tenderloin's pretty bland without flavoring, so I'm sure it was the seasoning.
Yeah. I seasoned the crap out of it, but so.
All right.
Anyway, I'm bringing boarding vac suit improved.
Okay.
Body pistol, laser pistol, stunner, flame rifle with 3 magazines, a EMP stun and frag grenade. I'm putting in my survival and explosives wafers.
Okay.
And bringing us and putting a survival pack on my back. Survival kit.
Okay.
I'm ready for anything.
So I'm just finding hazardous environment suit.
I have boarding vac suit improved.
So Gabe, did Jack buy a hazardous environment hazardous environment suit, or did you want to use one of the standard issue hostile environment suits?
Just the standard issue.
Okay, so here is stats for that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm taking too.
Okay.
I'll take the standard one.
Okay. Anything additional for Sarda?
I think I'll take the same suit as the others.
Okay.
With the I'm bringing my portable computer, and I'll slot. Let me figure out what I want to slot in terms of wafers, since I
Does
kind of
this
have to
thing-
do that before I get in the suit.
Is this thing a vac suit, or is it?
It is.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then I'll wear one of those.
Okay.
It's everything.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can add this as your, I mean, standard equipment if you wanted to.
Does this ship have a battery of drones or no?
Your yeah, you do actually.
All right, so I'll slot drone operations too, and I'll
yeah, you'll probably want remote ops. Because this has two sets. Your scout ship has two sets of drones. The first being repair drones, and the second being probe drones. So you can fire a drone down onto the planet. Now, here's the downside of that: is that if you want to, and of course, because resources for Deepnight Revelation are tight, you probably want to reclaim it. But that also means that you would have to go down and physically get it because it can't break atmosphere to get back up to you.
Okay, well, I mean, we may not want it to break atmosphere. We may want to just use it to scout the field of debris.
That is
the
true.
debris field. So I'll slot the remote operations, and I can't remember. Do we have anybody with maneuver drive engineering?
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh, you've got maneuver drive. Okay, I wasn't sure if anybody had it. All right, so I'll.
I have it as a wafer, but I'll have to put it on and take one.
Well,
of
that's
these
okay.
settings.
Well, okay. Well, if you don't, yeah, if you're, I'll slot that wafer if nobody else. Yeah. So those are the two wafers I'll have: is maneuver drive engineering, the remote operations electronics.
I love that the that the update kind of fixed the wafer rules because they.
Don't take Randolph's vehicle with us.
Oh yeah,
My gecko's in the ship.
Yeah, Randolph's gecko is down here in the cargo bay,
and
ready to go.
Can we
Each
take
one of
that with
us-
us on board our scout ship just in case we want to go for a ride?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I figured it's probably always there.
It's always there.
Yeah.
I go by and see my baby every time I do diagnostics on the ship.
Yeah. That hazardous environment suit. What kind of armor does it have? I accidentally clicked
15.
15.
Which is better than my boarding suit.
Right. I'm rolling with. I mean, I'll have one of those on hand on the scout, but just in general, if I'm gonna do combat, I'm gonna wear my my own personal armor. Probably. I've got the expandable shield, and then I have the advanced poly carapace.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's better than that.
So polycarapace is great for and advanced polycarapace is probably what you would see things like high-end security services and things like that wearing. It is, but polycarapace is not any kind of vac suit. So
you could add it. I mean, if you pay extra, you can add life support to it.
Yeah.
But without it, yeah, it's
well, I mean, as I said, I will bring one of those hazard suits on hand. One of these hostile environment suits.
Okay.
I'll bring one, but I'm also going to bring my other stuff as well. I mean, there's storage room on the scout ship.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
not a lot. I mean, it's still a scout ship, but I mean, it's not terrible. In fact, I think only one of you is having to double up with somebody else. So.
The big advantage of the polycarapace is it's so lightweight.
Sure.
That if you do add life support, it ends up being much lighter weight than even the better vac suit.
There is another advantage to your personal armor, and it doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't really matter in this particular scenario. But the advantage of that is that if you look at this picture of the hostile environment suit. It is standard Deepnight Revelation uniform colors. It is the orange and gray. And if broadcasting who you are is an issue, wearing this is going to be a problem because everybody's going to know. Wearing your own personal armor, you know, I would imagine that you guys look like, you know, the A-team, except except your rifles aren't all nickel plated, but still, you know, you guys are just a mishmash of camo patterns and colors.
Yeah, I've got chameleon full motion on my vac suit and my cloth armor, but I think for this case, I think I'm happy to wear the standard issue.
Okay. All right. So, seeing as Jack is our pilot, Jack can go ahead and make a piloting plus dex check.
Whoa, nice.
Ooh, wow.
And
all right.
I'm helping with sensors to help avoid.
You don't want to collide with any debris.
So
True.
Jack takes off with no problem, and so this is a fast little scout ship. So it'll do 4 G's worth of thrust, and it has a deep space maneuvering system. Not something that is a requirement here, but as I have spoken about it in the past, that standard maneuver drives. If you are out of a system and there are no other stellar bodies, no other masses around you, a standard maneuver drive just doesn't really work. I mean, that thrust 4 drops to like 0.02. And so the deep space maneuvering system, if you guys are out in the deep black, where, you know, an empty hex where there's 3.26 light years of absolutely nothing, you guys can still fly around. You can actually make it to the possibility of that rogue comet and siphon fuel from it. But in this case, Jack, how many thrust points are you doing a full 4G burn, or to get there as quickly as possible? Because if you do that, you'll be there in like an hour.
How many do we have?
4 total.
Let's do 3.
Okay, so. Yeah, even at 3 Gs, I mean, like I said, this is a moon, or Homestead is a moon in orbit around this gas giant. So, I mean, you're going to be there in like 2 hours.
We also
Maybe
have these probe drones.
But I mean, we're supposed to be scouting the debris field, right?
Right, which is around Homestead. But
so this is how fast we get to the debris field.
Right, yeah, because you're basically going out, and if you look.
Okay.
So according to this, according to their system map, so this is the gas giant where Revelation is refueling, and Homestead is the furthest out moon in orbit. So you're basically leaving from the edge of the gas giant's atmosphere and flying out to Homestead. So you'll be there in like an hour and a half.
Well, cool. I'm gonna man the turret.
Okay. We do not have a stealth hull on this, so we're gonna be pretty obvious coming in that hot.
We've got a secondary turret. Who is we have 2. We have 2 turrets. We have one with a pulse laser. Both of them with a pulse laser. One has a sandcaster on it too. The other one has a missile rack. So, and I've got
turret 0.
All right.
I have turret 1.
I've got turret 2.
Good.
So I'll do the
pulse. I wrote that program for turret.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
I'm gonna be on sensors, so.
Okay.
So I'll take the missile rack pulse laser turret, and I guess it looks like George is taking the sandcaster pulse laser one. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I thought, and I'll be in engineering.
Okay. And Sarda's doing
sensors.
So Jack, you after about an hour and a half, as you are approaching the edge of this debris field, I'll allow Sarda to make a electronic sensors plus intellect or education check. And looking at this, sensors are advanced, so that is going to give you a +2.
Okay. Oh, only a 12.
Oh, only.
Alright, I'll catch you later.
So you start doing a sensor sweep ahead of you, and I mean you are picking up pretty much what you expected. Now, it is said, that one derelict ship looks
A
pretty
lot
much
like another.
Yeah, they look all like another, but you can tell especially with sensors with like what you're using. The sensors on your scout ship are a little bit more advanced.
I'm looking for life signs, frankly.
You're not detecting any life signs, but you are detecting as you're keep in mind, you're not in the debris field yet, but you are approaching this debris field at 3 Gs of thrust, and you are picking up what you would expect. And there are ships that are in this debris field, or parts of ships that range anywhere from 200 tons all the way up to 20,000 tons. This was the site of a huge major battle. And some of these hulls are more or less intact. I mean, it's obvious where they were cored through and what stopped them from being a threat, and why they're derelict now. But really, the telltale signs of age: micrometeor impacts, collisions with other pieces of debris, and these are all showing signs of that. Jack, you can go ahead and make another piloting plus dex check to kind of weave into... Oh, Jack's making this look easy.
Before we go too deep or whatever, I mean, we have probe drones.
You do.
And so, and so, I mean, we can remotely look in here and do all that rather than risk our ship by going into the debris field, even though Jack totally rocked it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You could do that.
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
whatever.
Cool.
So Jack throttles back down to about 1 G, and just kind of flips it around, kind of pulls a braking maneuver and flips it back around. So you guys are just at the edge of this debris field. Are you wanting to launch probes? What do you want to do?
Yeah, let's launch probes, I guess. I'm not sure what these probes do, right? So
they are like the typical, Star Trek launch a probe, and they launch something out of, I guess in this case it's not a torpedo tube, but it is a drone launch. But it is it's just a remote drone with instead of helicopter blades on it, it's got maneuvering thrusters, and it goes out, and with remote ops you can take a look around.
Right. I mean, what we're really worried about are pirates, right?
Yeah, I mean, right. That's your primary thing, is to make sure that this debris field is free of threats. But of course, any information that you can take back with you is welcome.
I'm concerned about the fungus.
Well, I mean, so I'm not as worried about that as I am pirates. So, I mean, my thinking was I just used the life scanner analysis suite to look for life signs in the debris field, because it's unlikely that it's going to be a fully automated pirate ship, right?
True. Hold on a second. Let me take a look at something. I probably can give you a little bit more information on drones. Or probes, rather. It says... Maybe I'm looking at
I mean, that's why I was kind of surprised the scientists didn't give us. We'd like the follow. we weren't given a lot of instruction. It was,
Just
clearly
some stuff.
Right.
I mean, yeah, poke around out there. But I mean, clearly they're worried about pirates. That's understandable. But it wasn't like try to find us a big ship that we can analyze or head to the planet and look for this. I mean, it's
if we give
go
them
out there and go out there and have fun.
Right.
What it kind of came out of.
So
Well, I mean,
generally, so your scout ship carries two different kinds of drones. You've got the probe drones that are for surveying planetary surfaces and are commonly found on board scout ships. They can be dropped from orbit in disposable entry shells, but must be recovered manually. Probe drones are also capable of surveying orbiting satellites, derelicts, and other space debris, and can also be used as communications relays. So these things, I take it back about Star Trek, is that they seem a little bit overpowered in Star Trek. But have you guys seen The Expanse, where they release a drone from the ship? There's one scene where they go into a derelict, and the pilot it sends in a drone ahead of them to try to kind of scout out the halls, make sure that there any blind spots that their Marines are going to see or are going to run into aren't filled with baddies. And so he sends in a drone ahead of time. That's kind of what these things are good for.
So it's wiser just to go into the debris field and search that way. Is that what you're saying? Then if we find a ship, use drones to search the ship?
Oh no, you can send the drone. You can send drones in all you want. Yeah, I mean, you could launch drones right now, and essentially, it's going to extend your scanner range. The other type of drone that you carry are repair drones. It allows you to make repairs during combat. So somebody with remote ops can launch these drones. They have sufficient intelligence to allow repairs to be initiated by the drone controller rather than a dedicated engineer. They allow travelers with electronics remote ops skill to use the repair system action, which is a space combat thing. The repair drones are considered to have an engineer skill level of 1 or the level the traveler has in electronics remote ops, whichever is lower in all specialties for repair system action alone. So that's something to keep in mind if you get into a furball and you critical damage, you can send out a repair drone.
Right. So the life scanner takes 24 hours, but it basically analyzes the entire planet for life.
That might be a long thing. I don't know how much did they give us any kind of a time reference?
It's gonna be about 3 days in system, because Deepnight Revelation's a big ship. It's going to take several passes for it to fill up its tanks.
Yeah, then I mean a 24-hour analysis of a sizable area with these probe drones ought to be able to give them we ought to be able to give them a nice, safe target to go poke and giggle over, right?
I'm talking about our scanner suite, the actual ship scanner.
The live scanner suite.
Doodle.
Yeah. Hold on.
Right here, the life scanner analysis suite. And I was trying to figure out, like, can we just use that on the asteroid field? But it looks like that's actually used to analyze an entire planet.
Maybe. Let's see here. I'm trying to.
I'm pretty sure the deep penetration scan is used for planets.
Page 55 and 56 of High Guard, right?
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry, what page was that on High Guard?
55 and 56.
Okay. Here we go. Shipment sensor array.
The deep penetration scanners are for adjacent ships.
So you guys, with your deep penetration scanner, you can look inside these derelicts. That's kind of cool.
Right, but they have to be adjacent to you, so you got to get really close.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be point blank range.
Yeah.
What about the mineral detection suite?
We can use the
the live scanner analysis suite. does everything like you said, where it will scan the planet, and it can differentiate between colonies of insects, herds of migrating animals, social groups of sentient creatures, etc. It does take 24 hours. The one that you have goes a step further, and it can also take atmospheric and environmental factors into account to develop an accurate portrait of biology of life detected. For example, the system can indicate the physical configuration of detected life, approximate its food requirements, and analyze additional critical data that informs the travelers on how to prepare for direct encounters with a life form.
With a 70 to 85%
Right.
accuracy level, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's, you know, I could think the scientists would love to see that.
That's what I figured, but we would want to do that from outer space. I was trying to figure out if it would work to detect life forms in the actual, in various ships that might be parked in the. But I don't know if that's the case.
I would.
Well, at least be able to do a quadrant or something. I mean, if not everything. I mean,
I would say that you could probably do. I mean, it's because of how big this debris field is floating around the entire planet. It's going to take a lot longer than 24 hours. But you could do quadrants in a 24-hour section where you can, we're going to do this stretch of the debris field and see what we find in a 24-hour period. Which, I mean, over 3 days, that's not going to get you a lot. Really what this life scanner analysis suite's for is exactly what it says. It's for aiming it at a planet and seeing what's down there.
The mineral detection suite gives very little information about how it works or what it does or the range it functions at.
It's more or less exactly what the name says.
Right,
it is.
But it doesn't tell you what range. Doesn't tell you if it's for planets or for adjacent ships.
It would be for any stellar body. Not a ship, but a planetoid, asteroid, moonlet. And there again, I would say that if you're going to use the probe drones, you could extend how big of an area you can actually look over. You might, with using probe drones, you could theoretically look at multiple areas at one time. But it's going to be, the mineral detection suite is going to be a fairly directed scan. So you might say, well, there's a mountain. Mountains usually have ore in it, so let's scan the mountain.
So we're just going to have to depend on the advanced sensors and the enhanced signal processing. Try to find comm systems or communications, and then hit that with that advanced sensor there. We could just look and see what's around us and see if we can find something, I mean, with these loose instructions, it makes me think that they're just kind of, depending on us to come out here and get some kind of results that they can write a fucking report about.
Right.
So, let's just come out here and scan around and poke about and find something to fill out a report about or get drunk.
Does anybody else want to slot the electronic remote operations? If I'm operating the drones and the scanners simultaneously, I think that could cause problems.
I have sensor 1, sort of, if that helps at all, too.
I've got sensors 4.
Yeah.
So I'm asking if somebody would like to slot the remote operations to Jack. To wait so that they could operate the sensors. Because I don't have any skill in sensors. I'm relying on the chip. The wafer. And so if somebody else wants to slot it, they'd be just as good as I am. So...
I could do that. I could leave engineering and slot it.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I will run the enhanced signal processing, looking through the comm waves and blah blah blah, seeing what kind of signals might be right around us. If people are talking, I want to hear it.
So you are launching drones, and Randolph is going to be slotting the remote ops.
Yep.
Okay. So Randolph, you can go ahead and make a remote ops plus dex check. So what does that wafer give him?
2.
Okay,
2.
so 2 plus your dex check.
Technically, it doesn't give him anything if it's a dex check. Those wafer jacks only help with mental skills. They do not help with physical skills.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
have
So
a
yeah,
narrow thing.
yeah, okay. So
I rolled an 8.
okay, so perfect. So and with remote ops, that actually comes out to a 10. So yeah. So Randolph starts to operate this drone, and he's maneuvering it through, and your sensor sweep starts to get wider, and you pick up that there are, well, the biggest problem that you're running into is that there are multiple multiple power signatures all throughout this field, and they're flickering on and off, and like, 1 minute they'll be active, and then that one will shut off, and another one flickers over here.
How far away are they?
Some are practically adjacent. Others are, 30,000 clicks out.
So I mean, the only reason I'm asking is my clairvoyance works up to 500 kilometers away.
Yeah.
And so if I have a pinpoint on a power source, I can technically psionically view the area.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing. You're detecting, like, in your first pass, you're detecting over 700 of these things.
Oh, okay.
So I mean,
Yeah, sure.
there's just little power flickers going on, flickering all over the place. Of most of them appear to be like backup battery, and occasionally you do pick up like a fusion reactor that is, lightly powering up and then dropping back down as it whatever fuel as it rotates, whatever fuel it catches, it ignites and then shuts itself down as it leaks out. You're seeing that all over this debris field, but what you do pick up, Sarda, is the probe picks up a very faint flickering distress beacon, but it's not coming from the debris field.
Where's
It's
it coming from?
actually coming from the planet itself.
Get away there.
All right.
Go there.
Another bait. We're being baited.
Well, possibly, but it's also good loot sometimes.
And to show you, so looking at the planetary map, it is being detected in this hex here.
Look, we're required to, by international, interspatial, whatever, intergalactic law, to answer distress calls.
It's the prime directive.
Yeah.
Well, let's radio back to explain that we are picking up a faint distress beacon on the planet, and we're going to go check it out.
I'm gonna go ahead and try to get that.
And let's bring the drones in and try to plot a safe path through the debris field.
Yeah,
It's within 1,000 kilometers of the Noble Estate.
yeah.
Well, that noble estate is actually a small town called Benjamin. And Benjamin, you have heard in news in the last... Oddly enough, Benjamin actually made it to TNS News about a year and a half to 2 years ago. And it was hit, that town was hit by Augmen raiders. And there was a big shootout in the middle of the town.
How the hell did they get out there?
No kidding.
The sheriff's daughter, his 14-year-old daughter, was kidnapped, and was a group of adventurers attempted to rescue everybody, and she was killed during that rescue. And
where those Augmen raiders get a jump to ship?
They didn't have just one; they had 2 jump 2 ships.
Wow.
Yeah. And well, it's not too difficult to imagine where they got jump 2 ships. I mean, there is on Ogma, the about the only place that is not hit by Ogman raiders on the entire planet is a Judecus Class A starport that's sitting right there in the middle of Ogman raider clans, and they all agree that they're not going to fuck with it. So there's really it doesn't take too many mental gymnastics to figure out where they came across those, but that happened. That was what put Benjamin on the map. But this is actually about 24 to 26 miles to the north of Benjamin, and as you are coming towards the planet, the signal starts to get a little bit stronger. The other thing that your sensors are picking up, in addition to these power signatures, of course, is that there is a lot of background radiation, of course, in this debris field, because you've got a bunch of cracked fusion reactors, thousands of them floating out here. It's going to cause a lot of background radiation, not to mention the fact that there was a lot of atomics that went off on the planet. So, and these were like planet buster nukes. So, there's a lot of background radiation, but you are getting this fuzzy distress signal, and it's just an automated, SOS Morse code type distress signal.
All right, like I say, bring in the probes and start plotting a safe course down to land.
Okay, so Jack, go ahead and make a piloting plus dex check, and let's see how well you can set down. Wow, there he is with that 13 again. Okay.
I give Sada his wafer back.
Okay, so
and I put my explosives wafer back in.
Okay. Randall's like, oh, we're going Planet Tide. Time to kill some folk. So, Jack brings her over and drops into the world, and you guys come down over this really desolate, shitty little mining outpost. And it does have a baked earth kind of landing pad. This would be more like a class X, I think, or is it D? I don't know if it really even classifies as a D, but there is a cleared off spot for a small craft up to probably about 400 tons to land here. The rest of the area is minor shrubs and very sand and gravel, almost as far as the eye can see. Well, not as far out past the horizon. You can see where the gravel part kind of just turns into sand dunes. And so Jack sits down here on this desolate little pad. You can see that there's several buildings here. There is a G-bike here. There's a some kind of dune buggy thing over here. But it looks like this is an active mine site. And you can see that as you sit down, there are a number of people that are poking their heads out of the buildings. And but nobody bothers to come and approach the ship. This is actually a well. And it appears to be the only well in the area. There is, as you land and you look out the window, there is a sign that says "No spitting," and it's like underlined with red paint.
Purity of essence. Got to protect the sacred fluids.
Gee, I wonder where that came from. Oh, we got to protect the sacred fluids.
I'm gonna do a
52.
I'm gonna do a life sense.
Okay, go ahead.
Just to get an idea of how many people we're dealing with. So that is a really shitty roll, but it is a success.
That's a success. So there, in total, in this little mining outpost, you count 6 people.
Gee, it's like one for each building.
Basically, yeah. But
Okay.
like nobody's coming out to approach the ship. They just kind of look over. When you're looking out the window, you see that there are 2 people out there. One woman is carrying a bucket of water from the well and heading back over in this direction. Another guy is out here, and he is like standing out on basically his front porch, and it looks like he's cleaning some mining tools. And they look over and are not excited in any way that there's a ship landing.
Do a real quick environment scan just to make sure it's safe to breathe out there, or what that's looking like.
So your environment scan. Well, go ahead and make a.
How much radiation we're gonna suck in?
Yeah, make a sensors.
It's technically 2 higher, but.
So your sensors come back. There are a couple of things. The radiation isn't really a huge factor after 2,000 years. And these people are walking around. They don't appear to have, 3 testicles and 4 heads or anything like that.
But they have 3 breasts.
But yes, and that's the men. But what you are detecting are a number of life forms in the area aside from humans. And one of the prevalent life forms is dust lice.
Oh, I'm keeping my suit on.
Yeah, they're sand lice are prevalent. Aside from that, you are picking up some bacterial contagions as well. Things that your library computer brings up of more recent knowledge about Homestead. One of the prevalent things, and this would explain the reason for a sign saying no spitting, is that there is a planet-wide decree of any water. Usually, this well is an example. It has a purification still on it. Don't drink water directly from the well unless it goes through the purification system, because or you need to boil it. There is a prevalent bacterial infection on the planet that is passed through the water called damp lung, and it will go through the water into your system. It is respiratory illness, causes a lot of coughing. If you then spit, it will then be transmitted that way. And so pretty much everywhere on Homestead, they have ixnayed any spitting. You're not allowed to do that. It is finable.
How about peeing in the open?
They don't care so much about that.
I want to inoculate everybody with anti-rads before we really get all off into this shit.
I don't think the anti-rads work as an inoc. I mean, you have
they must be administered before or immediately within 10 minutes after the radiation exposure.
Okay.
And then they absorb up to 100 rads per dose.
Okay.
A user may only use anti-rad drugs once per day. Taking any more causes permanent endurance damage of 1D per dose.
But it has to be within 10 minutes, though, right? So that'd be right before you're about to be exposed.
Yeah.
It just says it must be administered before or immediately within 10 minutes after.
Right.
Radiation exposure.
You can knock everybody.
I'm just saying this gives everybody a thing. Look, the way it reads to me, it gives you a day of kind of 100 rads.
Oh, see, I always took it to mean that you had to
administer within minutes. Don't have any rad protection, do they?
Yeah, I always took it to I'd have it within 10 minutes of being exposed.
Yeah, the
after.
Suits. If you're going to stay in your hostile environment suit.
No kidding.
Yeah, these things will
Rad-
protect from 200 rads. So now my Pirates of Draenax group has learned that, you know what? If it says it protects you from 200 plus rads, that doesn't necessarily protect you. that that might not be nothing. I mean,
That might be nothing. I got 135 on my suit and still got 250 rads.
Yeah, you get caught in a minor solar flare and you're gonna get a sunburn.
But I mean, the way are we taking this? The way it means is I can just give them one for the day.
Yeah, you can give them one for the day. I mean, if that's what it says,
It doesn't. It's within 10 minutes before or immediately after.
No,
It doesn't say that it lasts a day. It just says that you can only take them once per day.
Yeah. How long do they last? It doesn't say.
I would say that it's good for 24 hours. I mean,
well, it's within 10 minutes is how it's worded.
It's within 10 minutes after exposure.
It says before or immediately. And then it says within 10 minutes. That's within 10 minutes immediately after exposure. Then after that, it doesn't do anything. If you administer it before as a preemptive thing.
So we always took it to be 10 minutes period. So we're about to get hit with radiation. Quick, take it, because within 10 minutes we're about to be hit with radiation.
In my knowledge, and I might be wrong, but my understanding of real life anti-radiation meds is there is no inoculation. If you get radiation, then you take the meds. You know,
yes.
There's no. My understanding is that there's no.
There's no pre-dosing.
See, I always took the within 10 minutes to be both within 10 minutes or immediately after 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, it can be however the GM decides is the way I'm going to roll with it. So
yeah, no, I mean, if you want to knock before, it'll last 24 hours. But yeah, I mean, afterward, if you get hit with radiation, yeah, you need to take it within 10 minutes, or else you're going to grow a second butthole. Which I don't know. There's been times where that might be handy. It's just,
I don't know. Do they have Taco Bell on this planet?
Yeah. So yeah, you guys get a knock.
You know, it looks like it's just the perfect place for Taco Bell.
Right? Yes.
Right here next to the mine.
Yeah. So the other thing that you know, this rail, this minecart rail, goes to the north and actually goes to an actual mine in the side of like a mountain, and then there is. I got some background.
What's this big hole?
That was the other part. There we go. That's better. So this looks like a mining proofing hole. Now, what you do know about mines and whatnot on Homestead is that these colonists from Thebes, when they came to Homestead 2,000 years after the Civil War, what they're mining is actually the buried remains of cities.
That makes sense. It's like they do in Clark.
Right. And so that this hole probably leads down into, some underground city or the top of a skyscraper or something that is producing some kind of yield for them.
I'm just wondering how deep this well has to be in order for it to work next to a mine.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, this proofing hole, and there is a mine elevator here that goes down into the proofing hole. It looks like this is more recently dug than the original mine, but you do see a sign on this building here that proclaims this entire site as being called Ganic's Mining Outpost.
Can we get on the loudspeaker and ask them where anything about the signal we're getting?
I don't necessarily know that your ship has a loudspeaker. You could step outside and say,
Yeah, I'll go outside. I'll go outside. I mean, I'm armed and shit, but I bear them no ill will.
I'm in my hostile suit.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys step out off of your scout ship, and the woman that is carrying her bucket of water kind of stops here. The guy that's here, he's cleaning some mining implements, and you can see that he actually has some kind of astromech droid that's sitting there, and it looks like hammered shit. It is beat to crap. Dents in it. When it beeps and boops at him, it like stutters, and so the same beep will come out like you know, that kind of thing. And the man looks up and he kind of rubs his hands off on a shop rag, and he says, "You don't look like raiders."
Well, what do raiders look like?
We're responding to a distress beacon. Is there something we can assist with?
Oh yeah. I heard that Mr. Ganic, he's been sending out a distress call. That whole thing's kind of weird. I don't know why he is freaking out the way he is. Everybody make a recon plus intellect check.
Oh, I love those. Mm-hmm. Even today. Plus 5.
Jack sees something.
8.
And George sees something. What did Bocephus get? And Bocephus sees something. So Bocephus, Jack, and George, you're kind of looking at the old man, and in response to Bocephus, when Bocephus says, "Well, what do raiders look like?" and he says, "Well, they don't look like you. You people are nice dressed, but you guys see that on the post." So there's like a vestibule, little cover canopy over his front porch that he's sitting there working on. You can see that there are bullet holes in the post and in the wall, and these don't look old. Like you're seeing fresh wood underneath, so the elements haven't had time to really cover these up. This place was hit by somebody. Somebody did some shooting out here not too long ago. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was hit by raiders, but
well, who shot this shit up around here?
Oh, we got hit by raiders.
So somebody thinks she's been a good girl and wants her treats.
He says that's why old Ganic, he turned on the distress call. But I'm gonna tell you, he's insisting on all sorts of stuff, and I don't know what that man is talking about.
Well, this is getting more and more interesting.
So he's claiming that the raiders came and they kidnapped his wife, and they took almost everything he owns, but they left that damn G-bike sitting right there. And I got news for you. Ganic ain't married.
That doesn't mean anything nowadays.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
So you saw the raiders come and they left a bike here?
Yeah. I mean, they took a bunch of stuff. They took a couple carts of ore, and they did take our beat up old air raft that we bought second hand from over in Benjamin. That thing was a piece of shit, so they can have that. But aside from that, they left that perfectly good G-bike sitting there, and then nobody touched Miss Daisy's her four-wheeler over there. They just left it. They were very specific. They came, they took these ore carts, and now Ganic's saying that they took everything he owns and they took his wife, but he's not married.
Okay, where is he?
He's over there next to that bike.
Yeah, he's over in that building over there. He run. This is his site, and mostly I think he allows us to mine off of this site with him because he gets lonely. And I kind of suspect that might be part of the whole wife thing, but I think she's a figment of his imagination.
what y'all be mining down there?
Oh, whatever we can pull up. Sometimes we pull up. Oftentimes we pull up ore from the old building, old Sindalian buildings. Man, those guys use some high tech shit. Sometimes though, especially if we go down in there, we can pull up some really fancy stuff like old technology and stuff like that. But you got to be really careful if you go down the mines, because there are some nasty critters that live down there. They kind of mutated from the radiation and that whole cocktail of biology that they dropped on the planet 2,000 years ago.
We noticed that you have some water diseases that are.
Oh yeah, damp lung. It's rife all over the planet. That unfortunately is one of the critters that kind of grew from that whole situation. I don't think there's any way to cure that, but we got it figured out.
Do you mind if we take some samples for our scientists?
Oh, certainly. Go right ahead.
And have you seen any fungus among us?
Oh no, there are some forms of lichen and whatnot, and you looking around, you can see what he's talking about, because he kind of points, and you can see that like here and here there are these shrub-sized. They look like lichen that would grow on a tree, but it's grown as large as like a garden bush, and it's sitting there, and he's like, yeah, we got some lichen and stuff, but we ain't got no fungus. I mean.
Would he be okay with me just doing a nice meta scan real hard of him?
Oh, well, stranger, you talking about free medical service?
Of course.
Oh. I'm not one to turn down a gift pony in the mouth. You go right ahead.
I can tell you about his bad knee.
Yeah. I always know when there's a rainstorm coming. My hip starts to hurt.
So do I.
Yeah, I'm gonna run that meta scanner right over his ass, though.
Okay, go ahead and make a medic plus intellect or education check.
And I'm assuming we have something for collecting samples to.
Yeah, well, I got his history.
Yeah. So this guy, he's got a number of ailments. You can, I mean, he's not the healthiest individual, but
he's got gonorrhea.
Maybe. I mean, he has a number of bacterial infections, viral infections. He's got advanced arthritis, which looking at your scanner, you're like, he's a little young for that. I mean, when I call him the old guy, keep in mind that this guy's like maybe in his mid-40s. But he looks, when you first look at him, his skin looks like it's made of leather, and he looks like he might be in his late 50s. Life on Homestead is not an easy venture. Sarda, so you go over and you're collecting some samples from the well.
Yeah.
Here is a question.
Sure.
Did anybody pick up any kind of portable scanner device? Oops.
I have several. I've got the. I probably packed on the ship my surveying toolkit, my survival kit. I've got.
Does anybody got like? Well, that's not gonna do it.
I've got a survival kit, but that's it.
I know you guys got a Geiger counter.
I've got a portable meta scanner.
Yeah, I've got the Geiger counter.
Portable meta scanner is gonna do you great for medical stuff. But like
I'm the doc.
Does anybody have a bioscanner?
It's part of our med kit, actually.
Okay.
The med kit. So I mean, it wouldn't work at a range, but it'll work on.
Gotcha. Uh,
The Tech Level 14 Medikit has a bioscanner.
okay, so yeah, so you can go ahead and you get your samples, and I would assume that you're going to bring them back to the doctor. I don't know if you have science biology as a skill.
My plan's to bring him back to the scientists up on the ship to
Oh,
give
okay.
them something.
Gotcha. Yeah, give them something to do. Okay. So yeah, the man stands there and lets you scan him, and as you're going over him and you're looking, you're like, oh yeah, okay. You know, you've got arthritis, you've got whooping cough, gonorrhea. You know, the woman, she's gone over here. She set her bucket of water down, and she comes over. She's like, hey, are you a doctor? Could I get some free stuff? We don't see a whole lot of medical stuff out here.
Sure, I will gladly be your doctor. Why? My medicine is its own beautiful flavor.
So you scan her. She has again. She looks like she looks like she's in her 60s, but really she's in her late 30s to early 40s. You are scanning her. She has multiple signs of cancer, as well as viral infections, etc. Again, advanced arthritis and rheumatism.
I'm gonna give them some drugs for their viral infections and crap,
Okay.
whatever.
Okay.
You know, just try to
clear them up a bit.
Anti-inflammatory and help
yeah,
with the
man.
arthritis.
Little shit to get them somewhat stoned, you know, because that's part of the healing process is getting stoned. and yeah, just, you know, I'm gonna give them a nice little, you know, feel better, get rid of some of these infections, and
Take one of these in the morning for a week.
Yeah,
You'll feel
maybe.
better.
Yeah, maybe deworm them, you know.
Maybe you should. Too bad you can't bring him that nice still that you used in the other game and have some hallucinogent in their booze.
Oh, he's got a still in this game too.
This is the game I have the steel in.
Oh yeah.
It's in the meta. But I didn't bring that shit here.
It's in this game.
Yeah.
This,
Well, they both play in both of our campaigns, so sometimes you might forget and get some bleed over.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna give him some solid medical care and good advice. You know, like, you know, perhaps you should stop living this way because, you know, man, you're aging terribly. But rest assured, I have your DNA.
So when.
I can make you organs.
Oh no, I won't be around long enough to do that. But, you know, I might blend you all together in a
brand new 3D printer.
Yes,
I do have a new
DNA printer.
bio lab that is just itching to be making stuff. And, yeah, thank you for the tissue samples.
So yeah, they both tell you the same thing. That Ganic is insisting that these raiders kidnapped his wife, and he's not married.
So, do we want to talk to Ganic?
What have you heard of any pirates that are currently in orbit? Is that an issue that it occurs quite often, or is it more that the planet is occasionally raided?
They both kind of, well, I mean, it's not unheard of. I don't know if they're in orbit. I mean,
he doesn't have any.
Ganic insisted on making a landing spot for ships to come down. Occasionally, we'll have a trader that'll come down. He does regular business with Ganic, and when I say regular business, I mean like he might show up like every 6-7 months. Usually,
and he's never reported problems with pirates coming in.
Oh, he has problems with pirates all the time, but he goes all over the place, all up and down the Dust Belt, And but I mean, occasionally you will see a ship that'll come down. There'll be a raid somewhere. And the woman says, "Well, this was the first time that we ever had any problems with raiders." So I don't know what attracted them to us, but I mean, here a couple of years back, they hit Benjamin pretty bad, and usually they'll come down, they'll steal some cattle, and then they'll take off. If they're Augments, they might kidnap some people, especially if they know how to read. Don't tell anybody you know how to read or prove it, because you'll be number one on their list. But aside from that, we don't. This was the first time we ever saw any raiders out here. I mean, nobody thinks we got anything.
You mind if I check out the bike that they left?
Oh, they didn't leave the bike. That's actually Ganic's.
Yeah,
that's
we'll have to
Ganic's
go to
bike.
Duke's
I'm sorry, I
house.
misunderstood.
Yeah.
I thought that they actually left one of their own bikes.
No, I mean, so when you look over at this bike, it looks brand new. Like he bought it someplace, and the only miles that are on it is from wherever he bought it. He drove it here.
No problem. Yeah, I misunderstood it. When I heard they left it. I thought they meant they left it as in they left it here.
No, we gotta go. We gotta go knock on his door.
Yep, let's go talk to Ganic.
Okay.
Yep.
So you guys head over and you knock on Ganic's door, and you can see that this. I mean, the front porch of Ganic's, there is a mess of like, there's a console that has been gutted. There's wires hanging out of it. And the first thing that you notice is, like, for instance, the console. There's partially disassembled robots.
Huh?
There's all sorts of junk on this front porch. And, like, the console that you look at, you can see that this partially disassembled console, the keyboard faceplate is all polished, or at one time was polished brass. It's filthy now, but it's brass, and the buttons are actually made of multicolored crystal. They're not like plastic buttons or anything like that. This is some high-end Flash Gordon shit.
Gee, I wonder where he got it.
Out of the ground.
Down the mine.
Down on the mine, I would assume.
So you knock on the door, and this old guy with a full bushy beard answers the door.
Oh, it's Chris.
He answers the door, and he's wearing nothing but long john underwear, and he's got a bottle in his hand. Who are you?
We are
your saviors. We came because of your distress signal.
My signal. Somebody answered my distress call. They took my wife. Those bastards took my wife.
Where'd they take her?
Can you describe your wife?
Oh, she's beautiful. She is absolutely a twinkle in my eye. Oh, you gotta rescue her. They came down.
So,
they came
how
down
tall
in
would
a.
she be?
Oh, she's a slip of a thing. She's about 5'2".
You have a sample of her hair or something?
No, they took all the hair with them.
What?
A hairbrush.
What about, like, some of her clothes that she wore? The last thing she wore.
Well,
that you know,
she was wearing the last thing that she wore. But I've got.
I'm gonna radio and say I think we have a real doll situation.
I bought her a whole bunch of nice things. As soon as she moved in, I met her about the same time that I got that bike. Really proud of that bike. But anyways, I met her about the same time. She rode all the way back over here, and there is a box sitting on an old couch in his living room, and he goes, "Here are some of the clothes." I mean, a lot of them are very similar, and he holds up, mostly what it looks like she was wearing are summer dresses and shorts and t-shirts. He says, I mean, obviously she's not wearing these because she's not here to wear them. They took her. But it's all clothing very similar to this. I'm not
Is there-
very imaginative when buying for a lady.
Is there a reason that your neighbors never saw your wife?
Oh, she keeps to herself.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking a town of 6 people. Seems like it's pretty hard to keep to yourself.
Well, she's kind of shy too.
Well, I doubt she's as shy as she once was if she's been kidnapped by the raiders.
So, what did you trade for the bike?
Oh, I found some stuff down in the mine that at this new proving site. I found a whole bunch of electronics that sold really well over at the starport.
Okay.
I didn't expect to make as much as I did, but there was this gentleman there that was really interested in stuff. He said he was there from General Development Corporation.
Okay, so you took the stuff you found and you went to the airport with it.
Yep.
The starport with it. You sold it, bought a bike, and met your wife and brought her back here.
I did.
And then shortly after that, the raiders came and took her and a bunch of stuff. What did they take from you?
Oh, well, I mean, they destroyed this console on my front porch. Everybody can make a Recon Plus intellect check.
Hopefully it's better than a 8 this time.
If you have electronics, computers, you can make that roll with a boon. So roll 3 and take the 2 highest.
I'm just going to take that 11 and roll with it.
Boom.
I'll take 15.
Look at you.
I still only get a 7.
Intellect, though.
I had a 5 and a 3, and the boon gave me another 5, so I'm going to take the boon and
I got an 11.
15.
So you guys kind of, when he says, you can see they tore this place up, they took what they wanted. You're looking at this computer console, and I mean, the thing practically is filled with dirt. It doesn't look like at any point since this has been pulled out of the earth that this thing has ever been in a condition that would have precipitated, calling the insurance company over its damage.
Right.
Okay, so Jack's just kind of looking around. So Jack, you're looking around, and in his living, you are seeing all manner of stuff.
So, how did you get to the starport to trade this stuff? Did you have one of your neighbors drive you in the air car?
Yeah, no, yeah. She took me in that old beater air raft that she bought. She got it used over in Benjamin, and I personally think she paid too much money for it. The thing was shot all to hell. It took a fair bit of damage here a couple of years back, but they sold it to her, and so we were able to it only broke down twice on us on the way to the starport.
Do you know who owned the air raft before she bought it?
I was told that it was briefly owned by some group of travelers that landed in Benjamin.
Okay.
I heard something about it might have been involved in a bank heist.
Yeah, so there may have been like a lot of money stashed in it somewhere, and that's what they really wanted. Because, I mean, if you think about it, why would they only take your air raft? They didn't want to take anything else?
I personally think they were here for my beautiful wife, and everything else was just.
I think your beautiful
bonus.
wife was part of. I think your beautiful wife was part of the gang that stole your air
Oh,
raft.
never! She wouldn't do that. She is a desert flower.
She was. And how long did you know her? 2 weeks? A week?
About 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
she noticed your air raft. She attached herself to you, came out here, and then her group of friends came and took the air raft, and she left with them.
Wow,
I'm gonna have to give him a sedative.
Snake venom. Give him snake venom.
No, I don't want to do that. He doesn't deserve to be punished, but he's obviously miserable and he's sleeping off, and so I'm give him some random drugs to make him sleep for a good night. Maybe some Thorazine, just slow it down.
He's gonna take a little nap now. So,
Yeah.
Are you just sneaking up on him, or how are you going about this?
I'm just gonna come up to him and be like, wouldn't mind if I checked out your current health status. Make sure you're not hurt.
I'm not hurt. What I need is somebody to help me get my wife back. I miss her terribly.
I know, but you have to calm down and first let me check you out, and then I'll go get your wife.
Oh, okay, sir. Yes. You may do whatever you need to do as long as I get my beautiful desert flower back.
Okay, well, I'll need you to bend over and put your weight on your left leg, and I'm just going to give you a shot in your buttocks, and that'll clear a lot of this right on up.
I'm going to throw it from across the room.
No, I'll give him a shot in the arm,
Okay, so you give him a shot, and it takes effect pretty quickly, and he sits down next to the box of clothes for his wife on the couch, and just kind of is nodding in and out.
Where did you meet your wife in town?
Oh, she was sitting right outside the electronics shop there in the starport, and he leans forward and starts to snore.
All right.
Well,
and then he kind of he goes, they came down in a ship, and they came out and they shot the place up, and then they took all the stuff and kidnapped my wife, and they got back into the ship. It looked like a slow boat, and then he leans forward and starts to snore again.
Okay, let's put him in his wife's clothes and put him in bed.
I don't understand what that would accomplish.
Does anybody have a Sharpie?
When he wakes up, you'll think he's his wife.
Yeah. But yeah, for really, I guess we just put him in his bed and let him sleep that off.
Yeah, the interior of the whole house is just filled with junk. What would look, you can tell that a lot of this stuff when it was new was high-end electronics, but now it's junk. It's all disassembled to the point where you can't even really tell what most of this stuff does.
Right. Yeah. Okay. He's just a stupid junker that got caught up into something he didn't know anything about. That's what I think.
Shall we disable his distress signal?
Yeah, we probably should do that.
Okay. So yeah, you flip the switch on his transceiver, turning off his automated distress call. You're standing in his living room, and you can hear him snoring in the back room. And every once in a while, he'll be like, "No, my sweet little desert flower."
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, have we bet everybody that's currently in town?
No,
pretty much.
You've now met 50% of the population of this town.
Do we want to tell the other two people what we found out?
Yeah, because they didn't even know they didn't even know he had a wife.
They didn't even know he had a wife.
Yeah, and then we'll head to the town and see if we can check out this electronics shop.
So you meet up with the previous two people, and now they're the other three people in town have come out, and they're like, it's two women and another man. They come out and they're like, "Oh, there they are. Are you giving out free medical services? We would like to get checked out."
Oh, I will check them out.
As soon as you agree to
more
that,
DNA samples.
These three, they actually start stripping off their clothes. They're like, okay.
A 10 and another 10 and a 7. Ooh. And yeah, I'll check them out and give them the same round of try if they got infections and shit, which I'm pretty sure they'll do. I'll give them a round.
The first two, you find pretty much the same thing. The third one, you don't get as good of a scan on him, but it's safe to say you're seeing a similar pattern of everybody that lives in this town is all ailing from similar things, and all of them look far older than they really are.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
they need to get the hell away from here.
Well, you're giving them their cocktail of antivirals and antibiotics and anti-inflammatories. The three antis. They're kind of telling you a little bit. They do corroborate what Ganic said, is that whoever raided the town, they came down and the first man that you met, he tells you that he agrees that it looked like, from what he understands, would be classified as a slow boat.
What is a slow boat?
So a slow boat is a very early version of a ship's boat. It is a small craft, maneuver drive only. It does not have a jump drive, and
like a little launch type thing.
It's a little bit bigger than a launch, or maybe small. Yeah, it's not very big.
It's big enough for their sail raft.
Yeah, it's mostly used for ferrying cargo.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't big enough for the motorcycle and such, obviously.
Well, and I mean, the entire town is now standing out here. Half of them are undressed as they're getting shots. They all corroborate the same thing, in that the raiders went into Ganic's hut, took some stuff. They didn't. They all disagree. Ganic keeps saying that they took everything he owns. They're like, no. I mean, you've been inside his house. There's no way that in one trip they could have carried everything that he owns. But
or that he refilled his house that quickly with junk.
Right. They all agree that there's no way that these raiders took everything that he owns. They don't know anything about a wife being kidnapped, because Ganic, to their knowledge, was not married. But they all say the same thing. They just completely ignored this brand new G-bike that's sitting there, and they really didn't do much interest. And the one guy who was sitting out here, the first man that you talked to, he even believes that the shots that were fired were kind of warning shots. They were to keep people at bay.
I have a feeling that his wife was a part of the gang that raided you.
No kidding.
They must have seen something when you guys went into town that they wanted, and so she seduced Ganic, and they came back, and then her gang showed up after, and took whatever it was they were looking for. And there's a chance they were looking for the air raft. It sounds like the previous owner used it in a bank heist, so maybe they had stashed money in it or something. So maybe it was the air raft they were looking for.
So all of the townspeople, the people living at the outpost, they're all like nodding. Oh yeah, you guys are really smart. That sounds totally logical. And the first guy tells you, he says, well, he goes, I'm not sure if this will help, but we saw that slow boat, and it headed off to the northeast.
Is that direction of town?
No. Town is almost directly this direction.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's take our scout to the northeast, looking
about.
Yeah,
let's take a look figure out where it went. But I mean, my thinking is that if they were actually after something that was dug up, they wouldn't have left. They'd have wanted to secure more of whatever was dug up. That's why I'm thinking it was the air raft they were specifically after. But maybe so. let's go check it out. Because I mean, if they were finding something incredibly valuable down the mine, I wouldn't think they would just come and take a little bit. I think they would want to take over the mine.
Mm-hmm. And we need to find out what they were taking was so valuable in the name of science.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've
got science in my wallet.
We've got our water samples and obviously DNA samples.
Yes.
You might want to let them know how long it should take Ganic to wake up.
So now they can, they can take a study on the DNA effects on DNA of long-term radiation exposure.
Yes, long-term radiation and mutagenic bioweapons. So, okay, so you guys load back up into the Desenex.
It's safe for you all to continue smoking if you smoke. I don't see them.
I don't see that being a problem. You're immune to the effects of smoking.
If you smoke, that's the least of your worries. So go for it.
So there is good news. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So Jack, go ahead and make a piloting plus dex check, so that we can lift off. There he is with another 13. All right. So Jack is
consistent.
Yeah, Jack is a competent pilot. So Jack lifts you guys off. He doesn't, probably not going to get too high up because you guys are wanting to run your sensor scans. Sarda, you can go ahead and make a electronic sensors plus intellect or education check. Okay.
I'm rolling
So
5.
Yeah, that's still an 11. That's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. So you're seeing why you didn't initially scan this. Well, first of all, Slowboat is pretty small, and second, they kind of nestled this thing in a little nestled it at the base of some mountains, and these mountains are throwing off, of course, background radiation, and so it kind of hid this Slowboat. But now that you've got a decent scan on it, and you know what you were looking for, this is what comes up on your computer. It's a 30-ton streamlined Slowboat.
Oh, okay.
And it's a pretty standard design. These are they're not uncommon throughout charted space. They're not really in as much use anymore.
It's the NASA space shuttle.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, I mean it is. It's designed for cargo, and that's about it.
Well, let's go see what they're talking about.
Okay. So you guys,
does this one have a weapon or not?
It has a fixed mount. You are reading that there is a pulse laser mounted.
Is it spinal?
Well, it's a fixed mount, so basically it's points forward from the nose, and that's about it.
So as long as we don't land in front of it, we're probably fine.
Oh, there they are. I'll just go down the line and drop some tokens on here. Quite so big. Mostly, I'm setting this up now so I don't have to do it later. I would have actually set it up before, but you guys have gotten a lot further than I expected. Three, 4.
I don't know if we can do that right off my character sheet.
damn it. And start.
I have a 1.
You have a 1?
We're not doing the math.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, if you don't have to do. So we decided in my Pirates of Drynax script that we're not going to bother with using the standard rules for initiative, where you count the plus or minus with your effect, because that's just rolling initiative with more steps. So you can just put whatever number you rolled in there.
Oh.
Because either way, it comes out the same in the end, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't. That's what I just do it straight. Roll.
Yeah, just roll 2d6 plus either your intellect or your dex modifier, and that is your initiative.
There we go then.
So between Randolph and Bocephus, which one of you wants to go first?
Since he's the doc, I will.
Okay.
We are not.
I'm sorry. There's.
Are we landed?
There's 3 of them.
Yeah. There's 3 of us and 2 8s.
So where do you want? Where does George want to go in that cluster?
You know, I'll go in the middle.
Okay. And then between
these
Sarda,
guys decide who goes first and who goes last. So
between Sarda and Jack, which one of you wants to go for first?
Jack can go first.
That's kind of what I figured, because Jack being more of the martial type.
Of course, it completely depends on the situation. If I can say something that might stop a fight, I'd prefer to go first.
Right. Well, yeah, we're not quite there yet, but yeah, don't worry. So Jack, make another piloting plus dex check to set down. Oh, that was a rough landing, but he got you down. In fact,
does he put us right in front of the laser?
No, but he does. When you come down, there is kind of like a bounce, and you guys can all hear one of the landing skids kind of go crunch. So Randolph has some work ahead of him. Probably once you get back to Deep Night, you'll have your engineering crews and yourself.
We'll have an interesting way to get into the dock.
Yes, right. Yeah. Hey, it could have been worse. He could have dragged ass and the maneuver drive not shut off. So
might want to take more time with that.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and extend my portable shield as we approach this thing.
Okay. So you see that the airlock here is closed. You don't see anybody outside of the ship. This thing is just sitting here.
Let's see if we can open it.
But landing the ship is seconds, so like taking a minute to land is gives you a +2. So
yeah, all of you can make a recon plus intellect check.
6. That's going to be 11.
Okay.
12.
5.
So it looks like George, let's see, George, Jack, or Randolph, George, Jack, and Sarda, you can see that there is a section or a space probably about 100 feet from where this slow boat is, where there is the obvious sign that another ship was landed here and took off. You can see where the dust and dirt has been blown away from where it lifted off. And from what you're seeing, it was, and this isn't difficult, it was considerably larger than the slow boat.
Okay.
Somebody want to do a life scan?
Yeah.
You got.
I'll do. Let me do my.
Can we do a scan? See, is anybody still left on the ship?
We could use our ship to scan it.
Or you could use psionics. I mean.
Yeah.
I'll do mine real quick. That way, save your points because I don't have real. No worries.
Okay.
If I use 1 point, then I go from a 12 to 11, and I use one of my modifiers. So if I'm going to do a big balls to the wall move, I want to be fresh when I do it because I want every plus I can get.
So that gives me life scan of up to 5 kilometers.
So Sarda is picking up in the immediate vicinity that there are 2 people in here in the cargo hold of the slow boat, and there is 1 person up on the bridge.
All right. So I'll just say it looks like we've got a few people on board the ship.
And
let's open it up and go inside. They're raiders.
Somebody want to use the turret and blow the hell out of it?
No.
Well, no.
You know, as you do.
Yes, you do. I know you really do.
I mean,
so let's radio them.
Yeah.
Okay, so
radio. To the slow boat. This is Desinex of the Deep Space Endeavor, right? Endeavor is ours. Or is
Deep Space Revelation.
Revelation of the Deep Space Revelation. Can you come in?
You get a response back, not using any kind of naval protocol. Basically wanting to know what it is that you want and why are you here.
We're here to kill you.
No, I'm not.
You broke the heart of that poor guy back.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I mean, we were responding to a distress beacon. We understand that an air car was stolen from nearby town. Is this a matter that could have impact on pirate activity in the area?
Okay. There is a pause, and then the response back is, we don't know anything about that. I think we're going to go.
You tell them to power it down or I'll open fire.
Yeah. You're considerably outgunned and can't possibly fly as fast. Can we at least have a conversation outside of our ships? That would certainly give you a better advantage against us.
There's another pause, and he says, "Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and step outside, and we can discuss this like gentlemen."
Are you insane?
Is the woman with you?
Woman? What woman? We ain't no women.
There was a woman involved in the raid on the town.
We don't know anything about that.
Okay. This ship was used for that raid.
And then you hear in the background, it sounds like somebody tried to, rather than hit the mute on the mic, it sounds like somebody covered the mic up, and he goes, "Hey, you shut that thing up."
All right. Yeah. You
Boy, these guys are real hicks.
Yeah. Are they stepping out of their ship?
Well, yes, we will get to that next week at 7 o'clock on Friday night for the next episode of Deep Night Revelation.
I don't know why we're involved in this other than to possibly find out if there are pirates that threaten our ship. I mean, this is a huge waste of resources.
And you know what? And really, like, what kind of pirate is really going to be a threat to our ship? Like, look at our ship stats. Like,
well,
it's ridiculous.
That's true, but you look at some of
fleet.
You look at some of the bigger ships, like for instance the Corsair. Like Peter Velas's gang, his flagship is a Corsair, and that will cause a bad day for small craft like really quick. It'll even start to cause a bad day for a large ship, even the size of Revelation, if he gets some good hits on it. So
Pearl's got a pocket war.
It's a bad day. It's going to be like it's a miserable inconvenience for us, and it's going to be the end of him.
Well,
yeah, but that's the thing is that this is a 20-year expedition where if shit gets broken, it's a real pain in the ass to fix.
Right. And if they carve a piece off your ship, that might be good for salvage too. So
yeah.
All they have to do is get a couple of good hits, wait until you leave the system after they retreat, and then come back with a cargo net and just kind of scoop up whatever fell off.
I'm not worried. I took out insurance.
I just look at it as death by 1,000 cuts. We don't want a single cut if we can avoid it.
Right.
Because we're looking at 20 years of having to figure out how to get around that cut.
Well, this thing has a hull of 12, and I don't see any armor on it.
Right.
I am not too worried about it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm just wondering why we're bothering with this.
So I will tell you, there will be a lot of normal type traveler style adventures as you move towards your objective. Just because, I mean, that's the nature of it. You're actually moving. You're not even really getting into the exploration part until after you get out of the Florian League, in which case, you know, it's not completely unknown, but it's going to get more and more and more into the dark the further past the Vanguard reaches you get. So there's going to be a lot of normal day-to-day shit that you're going to deal with to that point. And I've got some really fairly interesting ideas of some of the stuff you're going to run into. But
I just look at it like how the back of the original Star Trek, you know, when they wrote up, they didn't give a damn what kind of problem you gave them motherfuckers.
That's
they tried
true.
to solve it. They didn't give a shit.
That's true.
You know?
That is very true.
So I'm like, whatever.
The thing I see is that we're at least close enough to the Imperium that we are leaving records for the Imperium to pick stuff up.
Oh, true.
And so if in the course of travel the scientists come up with some kind of solution for their water problems, we can leave that message for the Imperium to pick up, and they know that if they return to that planet, they can help them with their water contamination. So that's why I'm like, let's take some water samples, let's get some soil samples, and get the fuck out. You know, it's like,
right.
Well,
yes.
But now we've stumbled
I'm
across.
almost the stage where we just get back in the ship and lift off. Well, why bother with these guys?
Well, you know, we're here, and I mean, we outnumber them, and I'm a really good medic.
And I'm going to use my laser pistol and my flame rifle.
There you go.
No, I use everything. You know, I have my pistols down there just as backup, but everything gets flamed these days. I don't even take chance. Everything's on fire.
Did you see him? He looked like he had fungus on him.
Yeah.
Burn the universe.
We don't have to kill them, but we can at least talk and see what's going on.
Hey, by the way, what kind of armor are these guys wearing, if they are wearing any?
They are coming out, and they are wearing flak jackets.
Yeah.
Oh, Jew, they burn good.
We'll be fine.
They burn real good.
I mean, ultimately, we are representatives of the Imperium, and it's going to get reported. We don't need to be just burning civilians, right? I mean, unless it's called for.
No, these are raiders.
Well, maybe. We'll find out. We'll find out more about their situation next week.
Yeah, we'll investigate and have a good time. See y'all next week.
All right.
Thank you.
See you next week, guys.
See
have
you
a good
tomorrow.
night.
Take care.
You guys too.